I'm going to be honest with you. When this game landed in my inbox, I looked at it and I felt a very specific kind of dread. The dread of, another one. Another cozy farming sim wearing Stardew Valley's skin. I've played so many of these games at this point, I was fully prepared to play this for 10 minutes, say something polite, and then move on with my life. Instead, I played the entire playtest, day 1 to day 14, on purpose, for fun. There's also a bug I ran into about halfway through that which weirdly ended up telling me something kind of good about this game. I'll get into that later. So let's talk about Fourleaf Fields and how a game about being smaller than a carrot ended up being bigger than I expected. Hi gamers, it's your host Stormy and welcome to the Day Show. Quick housekeeping before we get into it. This is a first look, not a full review, because the full game does not exist to the public yet. What we have is a global playtest covering the first 14 in-game days, which went public the same day that this video goes live, and luckily I got early access to that playtest. The devs are aiming for a 2026 release, but nothing has been confirmed yet. They've also said that this playtest will be live for quite a while to collect feedback, so there is time for you to actually play, not just a one weekend window. The premise is that you're tiny, smaller than a ladybug. You farm carrots that loom over you like skyscrapers, you raise insects as livestock, and you listen to juicy gossip from your fellow townsfolk. When we're talking about the scale of the world, your blueberries are twice your size. Your cranberries look like they could double as wrecking balls. You water your crops by shooting enormous water droplets at them, and you harvest giant pumpkins and carrots by slicing them into pieces, which is a satisfying way to farm. The town itself is built out like you'd expect. General store, blacksmith, the usual suspects. But the way that you get quote-unquote farm animals is a cute detail. You don't walk up and just buy a chicken. You buy totems, and the totems lure the insects to your farm. You're not purchasing livestock, you're inviting it. Now, the livestock we're talking about here are insects like bees, moths, butterflies, ladybugs. Honey comes from a beehive, eggs come from a literal giant bird's nest. It's really charming. There are also small hints scattered throughout the playtest that magic exists in this world. Nothing confirmed, nothing fleshed out. You don't actually get to see much of it in these 14 days, but there is magic sitting under the surface, and I'm curious about what the full game does with it. I've played 100 games that look like this. You probably have too. And if I'm being honest, I'm having a hard time pinning down exactly why this one feels different in any way. It's not one mechanic, it's more that you can feel someone actually cared while making this. It doesn't feel like just a cash grab riding Stardew Valley's coattails. There is a full-blown gossip system, one of the game's selling points, and yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. You talk to NPCs who are predictably attractive, and you collect little nuggets of hearsay. You craft gossip letters to unlock branches of an actual tech tree built upon piping hot tea. This raises your town rank, unlocks crafting stations and upgrades, all fueled by the village's need to talk about each other. It's seemingly wholesome gossip, to be clear. Nobody's getting canceled. It's more, did you know the baker used to be a sailor, than anything scandalous, at least in the playtest. But as a structure for slowly uncovering a mysterious town history, it is clever. It gives talking to NPCs actual mechanical weight instead of just being a friendship bar that you fill out of obligation. Okay, remember that bug that I mentioned at the beginning? No pun intended. My interact button stopped responding properly a handful of times throughout this playtest. Not constant, but enough that I noticed it and enough that it occasionally pulled me out of the moment. Definitely annoying in the short term, but here's why I bring it up, not just as a complaint. This is a playtest, and the entire point of a playtest is catching exactly this kind of thing before launch. And the devs seem really eager to receive feedback, both good and bad. I have confidence that these things will be patched quickly. The dialogue also gets repetitive fairly quickly. I think that that's a content limitation more than a design flaw because 14 days isn't a whole lot of writing to work with, but this is worth knowing going in. Again, it is a playtest. Bugs are going to happen. If you go in expecting a polished final product, that's on you, not them. playtests are exactly for things like this where you can give feedback to the devs in real time. So here's where I land. Fourleaf Fields walked in looking like every other game living in Stardew Valley's shadow, and it found a little light of its own on the way. It's charming, it's a little strange in the best way, and it made me want to keep playing instead of watching the clock. For someone who does this regularly, that's genuinely high praise. I can't give you a full verdict on the full game because it doesn't exist to the public yet. But based on these 14 days, I think it's worth a wish list, and I think it's worth requesting access to the playtest itself. There's a town full of gossiping folks out there with more heart than I expected. You should go see what they're saying about you. If this helped you figure out whether this playtest is worth your time, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I do this so you don't have to impulsively download games that will end up feeling like a waste of time. If you want to stick around, I've got another review popping up on your screen shortly of another super cozy game. Thank you all for the endless support, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!